I got my balls to my butthole, yeah. Oh my God, what did I do? I can't take a dump, cause now my balls are blocking up my butthole.
That's what all Vikings fans.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
He's going to beat them. They're not going to be able to score.
Shame on you. Good God, I pulled too hard. Now my scrotum's stretched out like a fucking yard. Oh God, I grew my balls to my butthole, baby.
God, you know, you're talking about a guy.
Oh my God, what did I do? I can't take a dump, cause now my balls are blocking up my butthole.
Right. And I think that's really important.
Out like a fucking yard.
Bushy Tail Sports. Thank you, Soda. Thank you, Jesse. Love y'all, Bubba.
Love you, buddy. Latest.
Love you guys. Take care.
I want to welcome everybody back to a brand new season, brand new edition of Bushy Tail Sports, presented by SAP Sports on YouTube.com. Guys, we have a new sponsor as well. Y'all's Bagels has come to the realization that this is a damn good show and they do want some good advertising, and we're going to do it for them, guys. I want to thank them very, very much for that. I appreciate it. Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Jesse the Body, Mr. Soda. We haven't seen Mr. Soda Man in a long time. We do. Yeah, we do have an ESPN protege here, dressed up in uniform, fresh from a radio job interview in the Tennessee area. I just want to Knoxville area. Let's get specific here, guys, so you can tune in to that. I want to congratulate you, brother, on what's happening. Where we all have, you know, I kind of wanted to say it earlier to you, text you guys, but I wanted to leave it now. 3 freshmen, 3 fresh New Years for all of us. Jesse the Body just got married this year. I have a brand new child this year. Mr. Soda's going to get married by the end of this year, I'm sure, working on his new life and stuff. So we all have a lot of new stuff kind of coming around, and I love both of y'all. I'm so happy for all of us to be here, man. And Jesse just got back from Mexico as well. Had a mariachi band at the airport waiting for him. Dude, wouldn't that be something? Oh man, you just roll up and they're in there, you're just playing in the thing, and everyone's like, "Hey, get out of here!" Security's like, "What the hell?" What is that? Los Tres Tonos.
Oh, that's the good stuff right there.
Oh. Yes, sir.
Now, how much does that run you a bottle?
So they get you with the Cosmel special edition bottle that's got like Cosmel engraved around the thing, but we paid. We thought we worked them, I guess you can say, but we probably got worked at the end of the day. But it's all about the experience, the fun, the atmosphere, and everything. So we got 3 bottles of like higher end tequila for $300, so about $100 a bottle.
Oh yeah. That other deep voice you guys hear down there is Mr. Ryan Youngstrand. So do we call him. Check him out on all platforms, ladies and gentlemen. He is a voice to be heard and reckoned with. How you doing, buddy?
Squirrel man, Jesse the Body. It's so good to be running with you guys again. I mean, yeah, we got big things going on in life right now, but we're doing this show because amidst all of these big things that each one of us are doing this year, we still have that love of football. We still have that love of, hey, what's happening with our favorite teams? And so to get back on here and put all that nervous excitement for what the future holds for all of us and kind of put it in one spot and get going talking sports, I mean, I'm all fired up today. So I couldn't be happier to be rocking with both you guys. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to some good NFL talk today.
Yeah, dude. Me too, man. Jesse the Body, I want to start over with you. Hey, big things happen in free agency tracking. That's exactly what we are going to start our season, our free agency market. That's how the NFL starts every single year. It ends with a Super Bowl champion, starts just a few short weeks later, and we love it. We absolutely love it. Us huge football NFL fans, as us 3 on this screen, are probably the 3 biggest that I know of. We strive every single day to wait for the beginning of this trade, what can I call it? Frenzy, extravaganza. And I'll tell you what, this year has gone. This is probably one of the biggest years I have ever noticed, watched,
I don't
and
I
seen
don't
free
know about
agency.
you guys. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but literally every morning I'm waking up over the last like 3 weeks now. It's like I'll wake up extra early, like 6 in the morning, and be like, all right, did anything happen overnight? Like, who
Right,
are we missing?
right,
Who signed their number
right.
4 wide receiver for the year? Like, we're looking into all this stuff, like the 53rd man on the roster, and the in-depth knowledge I think that this crew brings is yeah, I think we got something cooking here. So what you got? What are we starting with today, Squirrel?
Oh, dude, I'll tell you what, man. A lot of things I want to get to. A lot of stuff has happened in free agency tracking. We're really gonna start and dive in today on where and how the quarterbacks have moved around. A ton of quarterbacks have moved around, and you know, and you kind of blame it. You kind of blame a lot of free agency, and you can watch free agency every single year. A lot of people do, or a lot of people don't. But I notice that every single year, depending on what's coming in a draft, is exactly what happens in free agency, and you see it. There's four quarterbacks in this draft that are going to go fast, and those teams have already claimed pretty much we're going to get them. So that's why all these other teams have kind of done this quarterback frenzy that has kind of worked its way around. And I kind of want to start up with you, Jesse. We talked about it a little through the week. We're going to go through a few of our favorite quarterback trade maneuvers that have happened. At the end of this, I want to go through some of the best quarterback moves that will impact us as fantasy owners next season, our thoughts on that. And I really want to dive into some of the worst um, quarterback moves that have happened in this free agency so far. Let's dive in, Des. What do you got, brother? I know you have. I know you and Ryan may be on the same page of the best, quarterback move that has happened this free agency, but I want to get. I probably want to get two different perspectives on how it looks.
Yeah, real quick. I think the reason why you've seen such a big quarterback movement than you have before is one, there's a couple of teams who think in their mind they're set up ready to win a Super Bowl with just a decent quarterback, everyday starter in the NFL. And then there was other teams that, are like, we don't trust what's out there in the draft. They're saying this is a generational draft of quarterbacks. And it seems like with all the quarterback movement, that might not necessarily be what GMs, head coaches, who are ever making the decision at each and every organization are seeing. Yeah. So that's what I want to say. Why I think that happened. I know Soda is on the same train as I am with the Kirk Cousins deal going down to Atlanta. Big contract. He's probably made more money than any quarterback in the NFL to only win a handful of playoff games. But yeah,
one playoff game.
Yeah,
one.
But he is a 4,000 yard a year quarterback. There's a lot of times where it's a situational reason why he's not winning. He doesn't play defense, man. He'll go out there and score 33 points for you, but his defense has historically let 37 scoring on him. So that has always been a big thing that's on his shoulder and his back. I think that going to Atlanta with a solid defense, and here we're getting into the fantasy side. Drake London will be a household name next year. He will be top 5, 6, 7 wide receiver in the NFL for fantasy points next year. And you got to think a guy that only played really over his last 2 seasons, only played 13 games out at USC. And the dude had 1,000 yards in 13 games at USC. So he's going to be a huge contributor to it. Obviously, Kyle Pitts was supposed to revamp and reinvent the tight end position, and he just hasn't had somebody to get him the ball properly. He needs to work a little bit on catching the ball, in my opinion, but he's going to be another big upgrade at tight end. Kirk Cousins loves his tight ends. Loves them.
Sure
he
does.
loves to deliver the ball to his tight ends. He throws the ball, it's almost like 30% to his tight ends. So that he's going to be a big contributor. And then Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, That's to me, in my opinion, is probably one of the best dual threat backfields in the league.
Soda, what do you got,
Yeah.
Bubba? What do you got on
Yeah,
that?
I mean, really good takes from Body there. Kirk Cousins, I mean, that is such a fulcrum point for Minnesota fans this year because, yes, he fantasy wise is an absolute stud that people sleep on. He is. We've been talking fantasy for years now. He's a top 10 quarterback every year, barring injury, and has been for almost 6+ years now.
Yeah.
He's really good at leading a group of men. He's really good at being a calm figure in a locker room. He's really good at rallying people together. The whole Kirko Chains things. Like, I mean, it just brought on an atmosphere and aura in Minnesota that was so much fun to see our quarterback having that much fun with the team. I think when all that was happening, the winning was fun, but as Vikings fans, you were like, man, I love how the team's gelling. I love how they are respecting Kirk Cousins. So I think Atlanta gets that with Kirk Cousins, despite the fact that he's 35 at this moment, 36 when the season starts, coming off Achilles injury. That is very, very tough. But he will bring stability. He will be able to get the ball in playmakers' hands, a la Algier, Bijan Robinson, who's a stud. We're hoping that we can see Kyle Pitts rise from the ashes like a phoenix because he is that talented. And then, yeah, Drake London, top 5. He's going to be a top 5 wide receiver, and that's just what Kirk Cousins does. Depending on, not to mention any system that he's been in. He's been in some good ones with Kyle Shanahan. Kevin O'Connell's pretty good at offensive play calls, X, Y, and Z. A lot of that is how he's able to get the ball out. And Drake London is going to be, I think, the biggest winner of that signing for them. Now, they're putting a lot of money into a 35 going on 36-year-old guy who they're hoping to have him take them to the next level. Well, if you rewind 6 years, that's what all Vikings fans thought we were getting with Kirk, is the reason that we were giving him all this guaranteed money at age 26 or 27 at the time was because we thought he was going to be that guy to get us over the hump. He's good enough to get us through into the playoffs every year, but is he going to be that guy to get us over the hump? And we put a lot of money into it. And unfortunately, we didn't see that. We had some great times with him. The Minneapolis Miracle, of course, even though he wasn't there for that, or he wasn't quarterback that day. But nonetheless, we've had some great moments in his run here. But I'm curious to see how Atlanta, if they're able to move past anything the Vikings have ever done. Because if you guys remember a couple of years ago, we were like 12-4. We were having a phenomenal season. We had 11 or 12 one score victories, and it was just a destiny type season. But like Jesse's point earlier, he doesn't play defense. We had a terrible defense that year, absolutely terrible. And had we been a little bit better, who knows? We could have been Super Bowl contenders that year. We were a dogged team, and we fought every single game until the last whistle. And if we would have just had a league average defense as opposed to league worst defense, Kirk might be Super Bowl guy right now and enshrined in Minnesota lore for the rest of his life. But didn't happen that way. We're hoping that the Falcons have some success, though. One other, real quick, I wanted to mention about quarterback carousels. The Patriots have done a lot of transitioning, and they sold Mac Jones for what Peter Schrager on Good Morning Football said, a bag of baseballs and a ham sandwich. Yeah. And so, they sold him off. They got Jerron Mayo in there. What I do love and who I do respect is Jacoby Brissett. I know that they are maybe looking at a quarterback at 3, but also they have so many holes on their team that they are also in a good position to maybe trade back, continue to gather pieces, and then maybe dip back in next year or take a little bit more time to find who Jared Mayo wants to run as the quarterback. So I do like Jacoby Brissett in the meantime, because there are a lot of guys that got deals as like bridge quarterbacks this year. And I want to say for me, the Jacoby Brissett is the one that is going to be the most stable as far as those one-year quarterbacks.
That, and he's a good guy you could put somebody behind and teach. And I think that you're going to see that with teams now more are going to transition to we're not just starting them right away. You know, maybe you're Caleb Williams. If you draft a guy 1, you have to. I mean, in a sense, you have to, you know, but you're going to see, I think, more of that because that sort of kind of schematic has been working for teams a la J Love, you know, Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
But real quick, before we get the Atlanta thing, I want everybody to know that you heard that here first about Drake London. This is a 6'5", 220-pound human being that runs a 4.3 40.
That's Julio Jones numbers.
Yeah.
Talented. So I great stuff from both of you. I think Kirk is probably the obviously the big ticket quarterback item that was landed in Atlanta. You know, was the lottery winner there. I want to make a few points on the quarterback carousel, you know, as well. I think Tampa Bay bringing Baker back was huge.
Love that for them.
For them, I think. Well, big for them. It's great for the league as well because like, hey, let's get Baker, you know, somewhere we don't, you know, have to deal with him because you know, and I've talked to Jesse as me and him go back and forth a lot with Tampa Bay signing. Mike Evans was also huge, but they lost a humongous three key pieces on defense. So the signing of Baker, bringing him back, I think they need to work on other stuff with that. I love it because they needed to find an identity, and I think Baker has the identity for Tampa Bay. That's probably one of the best ones that I seen come back, other than Kirk Cousins. I really love the Gardner Minshew take from Las Vegas. I really do. He's going to start out in Las Vegas. Jimmy G needed to get gone. He went to the Rams. That could be dangerous, honestly. That could be. I mean, he's not Matt Stafford. I mean, let's
no, but he knows how to run a Kyle Shanahan offense.
He does know how to run a Kyle Shanahan offense, and he's got 2 wide receivers that have hands of gold. And a defense that, if you know, I mean, yes, they just did lose Hall of Famer Aaron Donald to retirement, but I'll tell you what, you could find a few pieces. Yeah, you can find a few pieces that'll fit that together. You mentioned it. The Pats at 3 looking for a quarterback, just picking up Jacoby Brissett. I'm surprised that they didn't really make that push for Kirk Cousins. I thought that a Bill Belichick
Kirk Cousins wouldn't have went there.
Well, I thought before Bill Belichick had left last year that they had already discussed him and Robert Kraft. I remember watching something about trying to bring Kirk Cousins in.
What's better? See, he had a no trade clause. So all the chips are in his side of the table.
Correct.
So it's like, what does the Patriots have to offer? They don't got a Drake London. They don't got a Kyle Pitts. They don't got a Bijan Robinson.
They don't.
They have nostalgia. Right now, what they can offer is nostalgia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, you know, nostalgia is nice and everything, and that's great, but you don't go you go play in Atlantic City. You don't go play in Bangor, Maine.
So we've kind of really worked around some of our best quarterback free agency moves so far. I want to start back on the bottom with Soda Man. Jesse got to go first there. Ryan, what's the worst quarterback transaction that has happened so far in free agency in your mind? You know, that either won't help the team, they lost the trade, or it just doesn't make sense to you.
Honestly, I'm going to be a little bit confounding with my answer, and I'm going to tell you that it's not a move that has happened, but a move that hasn't happened, and that's the Denver Broncos. Right?
Well, that's what happens when you're an ESPN insider. You know things.
One day, but no, I'm super confused on Denver's plan right now. I have much respect for Sean Payton. Not the biggest Sean Payton guy though, but I know he's incredibly talented. He loves his quarterbacks. He's a quarterback guru. George Patton, who is the general manager over in Denver, used to be in the Vikings front office during the Spielman and Zimmer era. And he was always very, very aggressive in many different ways, whether it was with the draft or trying to make a trade to get somebody. But George Patton is not usually somebody who sits on his hands. And knowing what we know about Denver, Squirrel in particular, we did the sports radio out there. We've talked with and rubbed shoulders with all the Bronco fans you could ever imagine. They are a hungry fan base. And for them to go from this failure, this dud of a contract with Russell Wilson, not saying he's a dud, but that contract in that situation per se was terrible. And they're riding out of that, and they haven't given their fans or the franchise any sort of stability as we're heading into now the thick part, like the beginning of the NFL season. We're going to start having team meetings and OTAs and stuff like that. You want your guy in place for those moments. They don't have a quarterback on their roster at the moment. And so that to me has really stuck out as far as a move that hasn't happened or that has been bad as far as this QB carousel goes, because I don't know what they're going to do in the draft. Are they going to wait for a Bo Nix? Are they going to see if he's their guy? I'm a big Bo Nix supporter. He could be a really good quarterback, and he could be perfect with Sean Payton, and maybe this is his game plan. But you're taking a big risk given the first 4 guys off the board might potentially be quarterbacks, and then you have Penix Jr. and Nix just kind of hanging there. If somebody gets a wild hair and wants to move up, then all of a sudden, now what do you have, Denver? If somebody moves ahead of you and you don't have a Bo Nix, and then say Penix Jr. isn't your guy, what are you going to do at quarterback? Pretty much everybody's gone. Hell, Josh Dobbs even signed. So you can't go and get Josh Dobbs. Like, what are you going to do? So I'm a little confused with what Denver's doing. I'm curious, the one that sticks out to me, just in I think the whole NFL world is looking at this one is what the Steelers are doing. I mean, they completely flipped that quarterback room, and now they have guys like Wilson and Fields who, hey, you know what? That's a pretty dynamic quarterback. And if they're able to figure it out, Mike Tomlin is a great leader of men. I know who did they hire? Art Smith as their offensive coordinator. You know, he gives a little bit of inspiration, but he's not a whole lot different than what they had going on there. But in terms of dynamic QB play, they did a lot for themselves, I think, this offseason. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead,
I was going to say, that was what I was going to touch on a little bit of what, like how you don't get the Denver Broncos thing. I actually don't get the Pittsburgh Steelers thing. Now, maybe if you would have, I get it that $1 million you got Russell Wilson. I get that. Okay. Yeah. I get it. But I don't understand. I mean, Kenny Pickett being in Pitt and everything and just being a true, as Pat McAfee would say, Yinzer. Like a hometown Yinzer, he's down for football up there. So, I didn't get that. And the way they did it, I didn't get it either. So just quick, stat drop for you. Over the past 2 years, Justin Fields has been sacked 99 times. Who's number 2? Russell Wilson, 96 times. Over the past 3 years, Fields has 145 interceptions and fumbles. Who's second to that? Russell Wilson at 143.
Man, they got both of the turds.
What do both of their fatal flaws are in a sense when you just watch them in the eye test? Russell Wilson
turn the ball over
too long. Andy holds on to the ball too long. Now it's masked with some spectacular plays from time to time from him and the deep ball accuracy that he has when he does roll out of the pocket. What's Justin Fields' 2 fatal flaws? Holds on to the ball too long and doesn't play at his potential speed that he should play at. So what sense does it make to have a guy who's got the same fatal flaws at the almost age of 40 that this 26-year-old you're bringing in? Or 25-year-old that you're bringing in. You're not going to have him learn anything from a Russell Wilson. So am I excited to see Russ hand off to Justin Fields and Justin Fields do something? Yeah, that will be cool. Arthur Smith is known for that. He got a head coaching job because of his run play action, abilities as a play caller. But I just don't get it, Pittsburgh. Why? Why kick the dude? I mean, you didn't. You gave him Matt Canada. I mean, come on. You gave him no offensive line. You gave him a Najee Harris who decided to not run the ball last year until week 10. I mean, George Pickens, without him, what else do you have? Pat Fryermuth, yeah, but you're not designing plays for the guy. So
he gets like 4 catches a game. And,
I mean,
and he's,
yes, and that guy is the next iteration of a Rob Gronkowski.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
with better mobility.
I'm absolutely on Jesse's on Jesse's little train here. I was talking to him the other day about it. I just don't understand. Think about it like this: if you were Caleb Williams, if either one of you were Caleb Williams, and you just literally watched Justin Fields play for 3 or 4 years in Chicago, and then they literally handed him off, like you said, for a bag of chips and a baseball signed by Greg Norman. Who cares? Because by the time he gets to Chicago, you should look at it and say, well, you sold him for nothing. And what's Pittsburgh doing? Like Jesse said, with a washed up Russell Wilson. Yeah, like you said, you got him for $1 million. Woo! Great, you got a deal. I told Jesse the other day, I'll put it on record. Justin Fields will start by week 5. They're gonna get tired. They're gonna get tired of Russell Wilson. Shit. Yeah. Honestly, he's gonna throw 2 picks week 1. They're gonna be like, listen, they're gonna sit him down early because he's gonna lose, and that's not Pittsburgh's way. And I don't think Justin Fields is a Pittsburgh football player. Like there's a feel in Pittsburgh, I feel. And that's not there. Honestly. I don't know what Chicago's doing. I don't know what Pittsburgh's doing. I don't know what Denver's doing.
Well, Chicago's got DeAndre Swift right now. They got
Chicago.
Mike Williams. They got DJ Moore. They got Cole Kmet.
They're doing great picking people up. I'm saying I don't understand why they got rid of Justin Fields just to go get a Caleb Williams that you don't even
Marvin
know what's
Harrison's
going
to be there. Romeo Doomsday
Marvin Harrison will go at 4 to the Cardinals. The Bears are going to take Caleb Williams. Washington will take Drake May or Jaden Daniels. And the Pats are looking for a quarterback, as we just talked about. I mean, unless they're really going to sit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So Romeo Odunze and Marvin Harrison are going to be at that night.
Do you think Romeo Odunze is going to go before Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Well, that's what they're saying now. So who knows? But
yeah, people are
because I like Malik Neighbors as well from LSU.
People are talking about it being, even though Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the most eye test talented player of those 3. They're all great, all 3 of those wide receivers. But people are now saying he's skipping the Ohio State Pro Day today. He's skipping a couple different things. And because they're kind of neck and neck, they're saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. could maybe slip a little bit. And then a guy like Neighbors or Rome could go in front of him. But one thing that we got to account for in the top of the draft here is 2 things. One, Vikings have enough energy and picks to maybe try to move up in those top 4 picks. So we got to think about them moving up with either Washington, New England, or who's that for again?
Arizona.
But also, I heard this interesting take the other day.
That's what I'm asking. Who's passing up on a quarterback? Chicago, Washington, or New England?
And that's where if
none
you're
of them
New
pass
England,
up, Arizona has to take the best athlete in the draft.
Yeah,
and it just ends up with Kyler Murray out there. Honestly, I mean that's how the NFL works, and you know it.
Yeah,
the Bears gave up Justin Fields to do this, to go to get Caleb Williams. We're all looking at it now, staring it in the face.
They're definitely going to get Caleb Williams.
And if they go get anybody else, we're all going to be like, what is going on here?
Do you think if Marvin Harrison Jr.'s name was Mike McDonald Jr., would he still be getting the same because of the name too?
I mean, he is a pretty good athlete.
No, he is.
Yeah, I mean,
He'd be like number 2 or 3 of those wide receivers that we listed if he didn't have the name.
He didn't have that name.
But given that he has the name, if all things were equal, he would probably be above everybody with that name.
And it's good to have, I forget how but to have, you come from it. You've seen it. You lived through it. You grew up in these locker rooms, so that's a good thing too.
All in all, I think Ryan really hit it on the terrible quarterbacking issue there of where Denver is just, I don't know where they are. They've left. They've cut 35. I don't know how many million it was. What was the number that they're eating? 35, $40 million.
I thought it was
eating.
40 something million.
40 something million dollars that
Yeah.
they're eating just to not play a quarterback.
Are we sure it wasn't 80? Like, I
Well,
feel
I was
like
thinking
this
it
is
was higher than
asinine.
that. I was thinking it
That's
was kind of
just this
higher than
year.
that, bro. I
Yeah.
was
This
thinking it
year's-
was higher than that. But anyway,
This year's cap is like 45, and next year's is like 43.
we're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. Bushy Tail Sports on SAP Sports on YouTube.com.
And a ball of cheese.